Shalom, giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops, to the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. And we've got to continue to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Heavenly Father. All right, you know, the things that he's doing on a daily basis, you know, the things that he's doing for his men, and definitely bringing judgment down to this earth. You know, lots of humbling needed, you know, for this wicked world in which we live. So the Most High is basically turning up the heat, and he's bringing evil, you know, to the world. It was a beautiful thing to see the Lord, you know, when you had that Burning Man festival about a week ago. The Lord ended up sending some disastrous weather and tore up their whole festival. You know, all that revelry, all that freakism that they be into. You know, the Lord, he disrupted that. And then now you just had a earthquake hit Afghanistan the other day, and it left 14,000 casualties and counting. So, hey, man, the Lord is bringing judgment every day. Matter of fact, let me get that. Let's go to Psalm 9 and was it 16? And it says, the Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hagiyan Salah. You know, so the Lord, he's executing that judgment. You know, and like it says in Amos, the 3rd chapter, you know, if a trumpet be blown in the city, who shall not be afraid? And if evil comes to a city, a disastrous, catastrophic event comes to a city, was it not the Lord that did it? Let's get Amos 3 and verse 6. And it says, in the NLT, it says, when the ram's horn blows a warning, shouldn't the people be alarmed? Does disaster come to a city unless the Lord has planned it? All right, and the Lord, he has the angels operating, you know, off of his instruction, his commands, and they carry these things out on earth. You know, if he needs a typhoon, a hurricane, all right, if he wants a landslide, if he wants something devastating, the Lord, he's the one who makes it happen. He sends his angels down because they have the power to do so, and they carry it forth. This is why he is to be feared above all gods, like it says in Psalms 96, verse 4 and 5. All right. So it's beautiful to see, man. Every morning do the Lord bring us judgment to light. All right. So let me let's play some of this. This is dealing with the earthquake in Afghanistan. I'm not sure what it was on a Richter scale, but it was definitely powerful enough if it claimed, you know, over 1,400 people. All right. So let's play this real quick.
At this hour in Afghanistan, where rescuers are struggling to reach villages and remote mountainous areas following the devastating earthquake that struck late on Sunday. The Taliban authorities now say more than 1,400 people have been killed, with at least 3,100 injured. Most of the deaths occurring in Kunar and Nangarhar provinces near the quake's epicenter. That's about 30 kilometers north of Jalalabad. The UN in Afghanistan has warned there's likely to be an exponential rise in casualty figures.
And where was Allah at? Where was Allah? You know, he didn't shield y'all, protect y'all from this quake. Just saying.
Many survivors spending the night in the open after they had been pulled out of a mud and stone homes. You can see them here built into steep valleys. Let's take you to our South Asia correspondent Azadeh Mashiri, who is monitoring developments for us from Islamabad. Azadeh, we see the death toll now rising, the amount of injured going up as well, and this was to be expected. But what are you hearing from inside?
And just, get used to this. This is going to become the norm as we get closer and closer to the day of the Lord. It tells you in Esdras, it talks about the beginning of evils, the beginning of famine, the beginning of wars, and also great death. So you're going to start seeing death in high numbers at an alarming rate, every day. 2nd Esdras 16. Yeah, 2nd Esdras 16 and 18. I'll start at 17. This is Ezra. It says, woe is me, who would deliver me in those days, the beginning of sorrows, in which the Lord spoke on the beginning of sorrows. He said that there will be wars and rumors of wars. Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, there shall be pestilences, disease, viruses, outbreaks, all right, pandemics, and also there would be earthquakes in diverse places, right? So are we not seeing that? He said that would be the beginning of sorrows. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, especially when death occurs. It's going to be a lot of mourning. The beginning of famine and all this disastrous weather, it actually depletes your fields, basically your agriculture. It affects your supply chain. So it basically affects your food supply. So that's what basically starts a chain link of events causing famine, right? It says, and great death. Great as in mass death. Not, 10 guys, 10 people over here got killed. 15 people got wounded. No, we're talking about death by the thousands. And only the Lord can do that, because unto him belong the issues from death. And we're in that time. He said, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. The Lord was not playing around, So continuing on, it says, the beginning of wars and power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. These are going to be instruments of judgment and punishments to this world, and it's mainly to get our people to change their behavior, to repent. But for a lot of our people, they're going to still continue to be hard-hearted, stiff-necked. So the Lord's only going to up the plagues even worse. Our job as the watchmen of the Lord is just to continue to give warning, or we would be held accountable. Ezekiel, the 2nd and 3rd chapter, Ezekiel, the 33rd chapter, warn the wicked from their way. And if we warn them and they don't take heed, their blood shall be upon their own head. But you deliver yourself from the judgment. So continuing on, it says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Especially when they think that because they're not necessarily being affected by the things that the Lord is bringing upon the earth, they might see a report about it, but it doesn't really have any effect on them because it's not in their face. It's not happening close or near them. But they're going to start to change and want to seek the Lord when they actually are knee deep in these disasters and these different things that the Lord's bringing to the earth. All right. So that's why they're going to be the way they are. So let's go from there. And let's get let's get Second Esdras, chapter 9. And it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, that when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And that's clearly what we're seeing. All right, so this is part of the visitation. Let's play a little bit of this, and then we're going to get to the other one where you had a landslide hit Sudan. All right, and it claimed another 1,000+ people. So let's finish this, and then we'll get to the other clip.
Afghanistan.
Well, so that death toll is from the Taliban government. The United Nations and other aid groups are also trying to report on what the death toll is and what the casualty count is. The last we heard from the United Nations was that 800 were killed, according to their preliminary reports. All of this is partly this confusion and some of the numbers shifting is because these areas are so remote. They're mountainous regions, difficult to access and also difficult to get information out. Also in Afghanistan, once people are killed, they're buried very quickly, and so not only is it difficult to get to those areas, but these bodies don't always make it to the nearest hospital, main hospital in Jalalabad, and therefore the casualty count doesn't always reveal the scale of the crisis that is going on there in Afghanistan. What the Taliban government has been insisting on is that they need international support. They need aid. And what we've heard so far is that several countries have pledged aid donations. Those include China, Switzerland, India has donated 1,000 tents. The United Kingdom has.
Now, had this happened in a country where it's predominantly where Jake is settled at, you wouldn't be getting the same aid. They would not be jumping so fast to send help and aid, because these nations they're not about you or for you. All right, remember Psalms 83rd chapter. All right, ain't nobody's gonna come and rescue you when you suffered, your adversity, your calamities. That's why you need to be in good graces with Yahweh Shem Yahushai in these last days.
Pledged £1 million in emergency funding that they've stressed is going through partners like the International Rescue Committee, and so it's worth saying that this is money is flowing in, but it's a complicated operation, and aid workers are warning they're not sure it's enough.
An urgent, overwhelming crisis. Officials worry many are still trapped. Rescuers struggle to reach everyone in need in these mountainous regions. Landslides have blocked off roads to the worst-hit places. Most homes were made of stone, mud and clay. Many are now flattened.
5 people were killed in this house and another 3 in the other house in the back. All were found, but 1 boy and 1 girl are still missing.
Medical teams say they're overwhelmed by the scale of the disaster. Filming women has been restricted, but men, women and children are part of the casualties. Thousands are believed injured.
Yes, hey, the Most High ain't playing around, man. He ain't playing. All right. So the Lord said that these things would happen. These are all part of the birth pains, the beginning of sorrows. Is going to happen like a contraction, where the closer you get to the labor, the more the contractions become consecutive, and the more it happens after a delay, they get more and more tense. So the world is going to feel that. That's why you're having all this seismic activity worldwide, and all these fault lines and tectonic plates shifting, causing all these tsunami waves, tsunami warnings, all these volcanic eruptions. All right. And then these storms, you blend it in with these storms, and thus you get, all these different disastrous events. Landslides. This is all part of the Lord shaking the world up, because he's visiting this place. It says, Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. All right, they're protesting in Israel. You got over there in the UK, they damn near on the brink of a civil war. You know, and it's possible that can happen soon here in the States, especially with what Trump is doing. You know, the judges are stating that Trump sending the military and utilizing them in certain states is actually is not legal. You know, so you know we're in those times right now, and if you being diligent, you're going to be constantly seeing these things, and you're going to be filtering it through prophecy. All right, it says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings, and wonder and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. And these things are it's affecting the atmosphere, is affecting the ecosystem, is affecting our agriculture, the infrastructure, all these different things is being disrupted. Because the Lord's getting ready to step in and overthrow Edom. This is his world. That's why he's not going to be able to perform his enterprise like he thinks he will. All right. The Lord can, use these disruptions and cause major delays in his agenda. All right. And that's why this devil is trying to move fast. Like it says in Revelation 12, the devils come down having great wrath because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So the Most High, he's going to continue. All right. And this is just only the beginning. So let's get the other video.
A Sudanese armed group says a landslide in western Darfur region has flattened an entire mountain village, killing more than 1,000 people. The disaster struck on Sunday after days of heavy rain, devastating the village of Terracine in the Mara Mountains. The Sudan Liberation Movement, which controls the area, says that there's just one survivor. It is appealing to the United Nations and other aid organizations for help recovering the dead. Well, let's bring in our correspondent Mohammed Aval, who is in Khartoum for us. These reports are coming in from a Sudanese armed group of at least 1,000 people dead, an entire village flattened. What more are we hearing?
Yes, Louisa, according to sources in the area, it's 1,000 people dead and an entire village buried under that landslide, except for one survivor. That's very dramatic. This area, if you know it, we've been there. Al Jazeera has been the only international news organization to be inside Jabal Marra itself. That's an area where you can't reach by car or any other means of land transportation. And that's why people, when there is war around Jabal Marra, they resort to the mountains. They climb those mountains for safety. So those villages are actually many in number and crowded with people. Some of them are displaced from other parts of Darfur. Those people are talking about, the sources are talking about the difficulty to help those people, particularly the people who have been buried by that landslide, how to dig them, how to give them a decent burial. That's going to take a long time, and maybe it will not even take place if there are no international teams that are specialized in this type of activities. They have the organization, the Darfur movement, Abdul Wahid's Sudan Liberation Movement has made an appeal to the international community to come to the rescue, to help people in the area. I've been there and I have seen the destitution, the seclusion, the dire poverty of people there living on in a hand-to-mouth style. Even though the land is fertile there, they have citrus gardens and they have abundant water, but they have no relationship with civilization, and that makes farming very difficult and other means of survival basically unavailable. They have no schools. There is no traces of government in that area. The Abdul Wahid movement has refused to join any of the conflicting sides in the current conflict in Sudan. He has always been adamant that all the demands of his group must be met. And now what we would like to see, or what people would like to see in Darfur and here in Sudan, is for people to come to the rescue of those villages in a very difficult situation now.
Yes, a desperate situation there. That's our correspondent Mohammed Val in Khartoum. Thank you.
So let me get a couple scriptures to end off. Yeah, we're in that time, man. And that's why, it's important to pray for the Lord to, have mercy upon you. Just stay in his good graces, man. Like it says in Zephaniah, was that Zephaniah 3? That basically, if you seek the Lord, it'll be that you'll be hid in the time of his anger. Is it Zephaniah 2? Yep, Zephaniah 2 and 3, it says, let me start at 1. It says, gather yourselves together, ye gather together, O nation not desired, that's Israel, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord comes upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. Seek ye the Lord, all you meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment, and seek righteousness. Seek meekness. Humble thyself, under the Almighty, man. It may be you shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. And that's what we want, man. We want to be, under the Lord's pavilion, man. So, and that's why, you're going to have certain men who the Lord is dealing with. They're going to be as a covert from the tempest and all of the destruction. Right now, the Lord is angry with the wicked every day. So there's so much wickedness on this planet. This not going to stop. Let me get Psalms 66 real quick. Because the Lord is he's a terrible power. Psalm 66 and 5, it says, come and see the works of God, the power. He is terrible in his doing toward the children of men. And that's why he is to be feared. Psalm 96 and 3. And now, 18 states are about to be able to view or witness the northern lights from a solar storm that's supposed to happen. I think it was supposed to have happened today. So a lot of the northern states, they're going to be able to see that northern light, which is an aurora. These are all part of those signs the scriptures is talking about. Psalm 66, Psalm 96. In verse 3, it says, declare his glory among the heathen, his wonders among all people. For the Lord is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For the gods of the nations are idols, like Allah. And that's why those two places, got hit up. And he killed thousands of people. All right. They worship the same idol in both of those countries and got hit up. All right. But Yahweh made the heavens, man. So, yeah, man. So I just wanted to do a quick video on this. And the Lord willing, y'all are edified. And let's continue to watch unto prayer, man. All right. And with that, I say shalom.